not much has changed for me in the last week. I'm still married with 2 kids. I hope to be next week when I see you.
Julie and I got an argument last night.
Well, maybe it was over Duke, North Carolina game. But so I'm the director of golf tournaments, communications, and retail. I don't teach as much these days. These gentlemen on either side of me do. I will give some lessons, but Eric, who's the head golf professional here at Chanticleer, kind of oversees the instruction on this side. And then Kyle Stam is his first assistant. They're both PGA professionals, and they're great instructors, and I encourage you to work with them this season and going forward. I'm going to talk about a couple swing basics, little drills that we often use with our students. These are things that I think we all agree on as instructors. First, a refresher from last week. We went over, especially for those of you who weren't here, we went over setup basics. We went through a 5-step posture routine. And I'll just quickly run through those. Step 1, arms out. Bring your shoulders back, then relax your arms. That's step 2. Step 3 is to bend from the waist, maintaining your posture, not slumping. Your backside goes back until basically you have a little strain in your hamstrings. Step 4 is to let your knees lock into place to support your weight and bring you into balance. And then step 5 is just a slight side tilt with the spine moving away from the target and your hips bumping forward. We talked about grip, which we'll just review individually today as we watch you hit balls. Basically, the joint on the pointer finger under the pad on the left hand, where you can hold it with one finger comfortably, and then the right hand, the same joint to the base of the fingers. And again, we'll do that individually as we go. Ball position, we talked about the biggest key there is to make sure that the butt end of the club, the grip, is pointing at the left chest area. A belt loop, you can use a logo, you can use a seam on your shirt or pullover there. So now we're pumped, we're glad to be outside. We're going to get to hit some golf balls, so we want to give you a little guidance. The first thing that we're going to illustrate is basically how to take the club, how to start back. Who was it that asked last week? Maybe it was Miss Danielson. I don't see her here. But it was asked, the takeaway. How do you get the club started back? Often we feel like, amateurs feel like the golf swing is a round motion. It goes around you. So they feel like you need to, whip it back here around. We see that in probably, 90% of our lessons? That's what we call a death move. You don't want to do it. If the club ever gets behind you and stuck behind you, you're going to have a lot of issues. You're going to basically have to reroute it and come out over the top is what we use for that. A lot of you that have played a lot of golf have heard that term a lot. What we want to do is basically get you taking the club back on the correct path and then returning it on that same path and working through on the same path. It's almost, the backswing and the through swing are like a mirror of each other. So if I take the club back here, I want it to come through on that same path and then mirror on the way through. The easiest thing that kind of reference points, and you see Eric doing it right now, and he'll take the club back and look at the club here. And Eric, maybe just tell him what you're looking for on that first position after the takeaway.
P1, like Bo was talking about, I'm kind of looking for the toe to be to the heavens or toe up, they say.
And the leading edge pointing straight up at the sky.
Right, yeah, and then not here. Closed. This produces the difference in hands, how they go back. So you want to have them right here, almost like you give somebody a handshake. And then that also is going to line up as Bo's putting this down with the alignment stick, so it's not here. Like you said, it's going too far inside, because that's just going to create, when you come back down, obviously club coming inside is going to create over the top. So we want to kind of work on that first position like Bo's saying, of putting it here, setting the club, and then from here you notice my hip starts first a little bit, and then the club comes. On the way back through, my left hip will start to turn, the club will come through impact, and then I kind of move into the same position here. So now the club, you can see, is on this same line.
The arms to where that toe points up. But if I come through and I get real handsy and flip, that club is going to drill me in the ribs, and it doesn't feel good, I promise. So a lot of you will hit yourself maybe in the ribs a couple of times, but you'll learn quick not to. Sometimes pain's a good teacher. We won't hurt you too bad. But, so I'm going to have Eric work again and hit a couple balls. I recommend on any drill, and it doesn't matter if you're a beginner, a 10 handicap, a +5 handicap, a tour champion, I recommend doing drill work off of a tee.
I haven't done this in a while.
You'll be alright.
Especially with the thing.
He doesn't need it to take the members' money.
So like again right here, and obviously.
And you see a nice shot that I'm guessing went pretty much right at the target.
And you're not, the whole key too, like we're trying to say, is you're not trying to kill the ball, you're not trying to hit it. Even if it dribbles off the tee, you're trying to fundamentally get to a position here and then work with your left hip and then rotating through again to this position.
Oh, you went past where you told us to go. You know?
Where? Here?
He went back a little bit further.
I did go, so here, I'll do that again. I did go a little bit further, you're right. Let me try
And
that
that'll
again.
happen the
I
moment.
mean, I've just never done it before, and I
Right
just
here?
was like, you didn't do what you said. You did it again.
See, I went up a little bit. I went up. Did I go up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You videoed it to make
Yeah,
sure?
I got
Doesn't
it.
feel like it. All right, we'll try it again then.
need to video it.
And we do. We have proof. So
I've not hit myself though with the shaft.
We've got proof. So the momentum of the swing will take you.
So you're
past
saying
it.
it's going like that, and then I. Oh.
You're giving yourself a little bit of a head start on a little bit of benefit to hit it further. And that's probably a more realistic distance.
Right.
This is almost going to be like a little chip shot.
Is that like some more advanced move to go all the way up or something?
That's more of a full
Yeah,
swing,
that's a
and
little bit
we'll
full
work
swing.
into that as
Okay.
well. This is just to kind of
This is the key.
the most important area of the golf swing occurs from hip to hip. It's from right here to right here, because
Remember
that's where
that.
you're hitting.
That is correct. It is from here to
That's
here.
where you hit the ball. I mean, what happens up here is important. It
Try to
sets
do it.
you up into a good position to get that correct more often. But this is the most important area, from hip to hip. That was a lot better.
So then, you know,
He's
obviously.
a good student. He listens. You know, he gets it right.
So the
After
key,
about
the
10,
key
20
is when you
tries.
grab this, it's not, you know, the key is to kind of make sure you're, like Bo's saying, the triangle's formed, then you rotate the arms, P1 to kind of that toe up, kind of where you need to be.
And then when he comes through, it's going to mirror that.
Left hip turn, and mirror it again, and it's going to come this way.
So the toes up again.
So that
Your
way now,
arms straight or are they bent?
They're relaxed.
they're relaxed.
Black.
That's the best way to describe the arms, is they are straight but relaxed. So when I lean over in that posture routine, and I let them hang together to where they can just clap. But so they appear straight, correct? But they're not.
Yeah, I mean, when you let your arms down, right, like Bo's saying, they're going to hang. And your palms are going to be inside. So this is how you wouldn't grip it. And obviously, like a lot of people, not this either.
Yeah.
You know, so it's where you get once you set up and get that posture correct and everything needs, and your arms are just going to fall. Right
And
here.
you'll see that people that get nervous, and it's at every level, they tend to look tenser. I mean, you know, when they're nervous, and one of the oldest cliches, and I often say it is, tight muscles are slow. Relaxed muscles are fast. When Eric hits the golf ball, he looks very loose, and his swing then looks very fluid, especially after some fluids. But if you'll never see Eric up there like this unless it's a 4-footer.
4-footer. I've gotten better at
I'm
putting.
just kidding. He's a great putter. He's a great putter.
All that medicine makes me shake.
So that's kind of the first drill that we wanted to demonstrate. The second drill, I'll ask Kyle to come up.
Kyle, come on up now.
And it can be a little bit intimidating to get the club in the correct position at the top of the swing because you can't see it. It's kind of over here. You don't know what's going on. So it's like, okay, do I do that or do I do this? This is a drill that gets you in the correct position without you having to think, and that's good. We touched on that last week. Don't overthink it. The goal is, you want the club to pass through all these positions to where it's on plane, and there's a lot of technical stuff to get here. But an easy way to get there in a drill is it's a 3-step backswing. You hinge from the elbow, keeping the elbows the same distance apart. You turn with the shoulders, and then you extend. That drill puts you in a perfect backswing position every time. And then from there, you just teach yourself how to work through and hit the ball. There are 3 things happening with the upper body in the backswing. The shoulders are turning, the wrists are hinging, like you're hammering a nail, and the arms are lifting. This accomplishes all 3. You get the wrist hinge on that first step, you get the shoulder turn with the second, and you get the arms lifting on the third. So I'm going to have Kyle step up to the ball here, and I'll just kind of go over some things that you don't want to do. Kyle will make you do some bad things as we go along here first. So again, just that normal setup. He's got a great posture. The first step is going to be to basically hinge right from the elbows there until the club gets somewhere near the shoulder or rest on the shoulder. Notice that Kyle doesn't take his elbows and spread them apart and chicken wing them out like that. Also notice that he's still in the same posture he was when he started. A lot of people, if you'll reset, a lot of people, their head will move up as they hinge. So see how his head moved up. The more you change on the backswing, the more you have to correct on the way through. One of the biggest basics is to maintain posture. Again, a lot of tennis ladies here, I imagine that if you're going to hit a shot and for some reason do that, it makes it a lot harder to make clean contact. Less moving parts, the better.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most important things with this drill, and I'll find it when with newer players is a great drill, but be careful when you do this here that you don't, like Bo's saying, that's very common for someone to do that there. Since they're bringing this up here, they either stand up or their head comes up, like Bo was saying, so it's important to keep that posture.
So establish that good posture. Step 1 is the hinge. So watch Kyle hinge here. Step 2 is the turn, and you're just going to allow the shoulder to turn under the chin. Word of caution here is to keep your weight between your feet. Stay within yourself. So when he takes it back and turns, he doesn't go sideways. He doesn't go lateral. It's a turn. This is just a rotational movement.
I guess
Yeah, if you show him what a sway would look like.
Here, and then
See how he swayed and his weight gets outside of that foot.
Shadow can tell it too.
Yeah.
It's a perfect morning for Shadow, yeah.
Again, if you sway back, you got to sway through to correct it, and that's hard to do and make good contact every time. You're going to make good contact sometimes, but more often than not, you're going to struggle. So it's just a turn.
face on.
Yeah, go ahead, show face on it. Hinge, and then turn. That's perfect. Now, from here, all he's simply going to do is just extend his arms and lift the club off his shoulder a little bit. And again, his head stayed still. He didn't lift up as his arms went up. This is a perfect backswing position. From
You're just
there,
showing us what it should look like when we actually move back
exactly.
and stop.
And the more you do this is what we call technical practice. There are 2 types of practice. There's technical, which is technique. You're trying to master a position, a feel, a setup, improvement. Exactly. So if
are your feet always flat all the way up to the backswing?
if you don't have any range of motion limitations and flexibility limitations, we do encourage the feet to stay flat. But you know, for some people, for them to get to the top of the backswing, that left heel is going to have to come off the ground. Jack Nicklaus did it. He was pretty good at golf. It's okay. I think Bubba does too. That comes off a little bit.
Bubba hits on his toes in impact.
Road couples, yeah.
Not a good guy to look at for the golf swing.
Yeah. But the key here is that, again, this is technical. So Kyle, go ahead and hit one with the drill.
Right. Another thing, if you do have to lift it up a little bit, try to keep that and try not to go up with your posture. If you do have to lift it a little bit to make that turn, we don't want to be doing that. You'll see a lot of people that do that right there when they lift their
That's a
foot
great
up there.
point. It's allowing you to turn more. That's all that lift is doing. So Kyle's going to hit one with this drill, and the important thing here is this is technical practice. It's about mastering a technique. It's not about where the ball's going. So I like to split practice time evenly. You spend about half of it on technique and then half of it on target. So Kyle, go ahead and hit one with the drill.
Let's see.
It's played about once in 6 months, so we'll go easy.
Played good the other night.
Off
Pretty
balance.
good. Balance was he was up late watching the Duke North Carolina game.
Disaster. Soccer player at Appalachian State All-American. Look at his big feet. He's a soccer. Yeah, look at that.
And so the way we would break up practice is Kyle would hit a couple balls with the drill and then he'd hit a couple without the drill. And the reason I like this drill so much is it leads to a dynamic movement. So instead of me saying, okay, we're going to get the club here and then we're going to hinge to here, and then you're going to turn 15.3 degrees, and then you're going to get here. And it's like, no.
You're right.
Just do this, understand what it feels like, then reset, and get the club there. So you're not thinking about all these different positions, you're just making one movement, a dynamic movement to get to a correct position. I was told years ago that this is not a power move, the backswing. It's just a positioning move. It puts you in a balanced position to then make a powerful move on the way through. You should be able to hold it at the top long enough for Eric to eat a sandwich, and then make which is, he eats pretty quick, but still, you should be able to hold it there and then create the power on the way through. A lot of people try to build speed on the way back and at the wrong times of the swing. It's a positioning move. It's a balance move. So Sean, one more with the drill, and then he'll do one without the drill and try to achieve that same position. Hinge, turn, extend, and hit.
It's all out of it.
And again, that's technical practice. So it's not. That was a perfect swing because he achieved that position. That was a success. You grade technical practice by whether or not you achieved a position, not by where the ball went. You grade target practice by where the ball went. So now we'll grade this on where the ball went. So again, he's just going to
I'm
try
just
to
going wherever it's
Down the right side, man.
He's just
wherever
gonna,
it goes, where I'm aiming.
he's just going to try to make it. He's going to try to make a dynamic move to achieve that backswing position and then hit the ball.